This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
Happy 2023.
Yay!
Very exciting. Yeah. If you missed the shorty, we do want to let you know that we have our new studio up. So you can watch the shorty episode now on YouTube if you haven't caught it yet. And we're going to be releasing all kinds of fun things. I'm very excited about 2023. I say that cautiously.
I know, right?
Cautiously
We're
optimistic,
still.
cautiously excited. Yeah.
Well,
We've been burned before.
Yes,
So.
that's all. That's all we'll say about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it is a new year.
Yes.
New year, new us, maybe. But I got this list on Bumble of 2023 dating trends to look out for.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. So the first one says, in a survey of 14,300 Bumble users around the world,
Wow.
74% of men say they've looked inward and analyzed their own behavior more than ever and have a clearer understanding of toxic masculinity. So I guess the term toxic masculinity was trending and at least self-reported. These men say that they're doing some work on that.
I'll see it when I believe it.
Yeah.
Believe it when I see it.
Show your work then.
Yeah,
Show your work.
Yeah. 52% of people on Bumble are actively trying to challenge the gender stereotype that men shouldn't show emotions out of fear of seeming weak. And over a third, 38%, of people now talk about emotions more openly with male friends. And half of men think that dismantling gender roles in relationships and dating will benefit them.
They're right.
Half? Only half?
Yeah. I mean, they are right. You say half, only half. I say, are they being honest?
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm a bit
half is-
skeptical.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, half's a lot. I'm
I mean,
surprised.
it should be more because the truth is, and we talked about this on a recent episode as well, like breaking down these gender stereotypes in dating will benefit them.
Yeah, of
like
course.
that is the
Definitely
truth.
would.
It absolutely will benefit everybody to start like breaking down a lot of those gender stereotypes, whether or not I believe that they actually believe that, or if they're just saying it, if it's kind of like, right after the Women's March, whenever all these men were like, I'm a feminist, and you're like,
Do you know what that means?
are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I do think that the fact that the culture is moving in a direction where that's the culturally or societally acceptable thing to say
Right.
is positive.
Yeah.
Because I think the more we have that thinking, whether or not they fully believe it yet, or they fully mean it, or they're being fully honest yet, that's the direction we're heading in.
Yeah.
So amazing. New year, new men, according to Bumble here.
New year, new men. I love it.
Yeah. The next one is guard railing. So this one says, setting boundaries is essential in relationships of all kinds, whether you've just started dating, you're at work, or in pretty much any other situation involving interactions with other human beings. Absolutely.
Yeah.
63% of daters say they're clearer about emotional needs and boundaries.
Okay.
Smart.
All right. No, I think that that's true. I mean,
We're very skeptical. We're a skeptical bunch at this table.
We get so many bad dates where it's like,
Yeah.
the boundary things is a big reason why we get worse dates. So
Oh,
We're
yeah.
actually please don't. We're gonna you're gonna ruin our podcast.
Yeah, listen. Our bread
everybody
and
starts acting
butter
right.
over here. Yeah. Are you someone who, digs into your butt crack and gives your butt fluff a smell in public?
Just can't.
Maybe you could learn a little
boundaries.
Yeah. That's right. 59% are more thoughtful and intentional about how they put themselves out there. That is something that I feel like I am seeing more is people are thinking. And I think that just comes with social media having been around longer.
Yeah.
We've learned, like millennials didn't know. We were like,
Everything. Everything's for the internet.
Everything all the time. Go out, upload everything on your
Yeah.
Sony
Oh,
digital
God.
camera,
Yeah.
label it about last night on Facebook and just put everything on there, even if your finger's in the lens.
I think I posted a total of like 4 pictures from 2022. I
God.
honestly
Same.
think that's it.
Very few for me too. Very few. I was
Yeah.
actually looking at my Instagram. I mean, I posted things to my stories, but I really didn't post a lot on my actual Instagram feed at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we're
Same.
just...
I just don't care.
No.
I really don't.
It's so exhausting.
It is. I don't have the time. That's really what it boils down to. I don't have the time to live my actual life and also create a life narrative.
Oh,
I just fucking don't. Like, I don't.
It's more than...
I envy people who have that kind of bandwidth to create content out of their life. I don't know. Like, I'm always the last person to get pictures. There's so many events and so many things we've done that if other people hadn't taken pictures, I would.
Oh yeah.
If I lose my memory, don't ask me to find.
Yeah.
Don't give me. I have no pictures for
and
it.
part of that is just like being busy living, right? But
Yeah.
I think there is also part of it that like I could and have, you know, and could again like curate a life online, but I just don't. In fact, I'm almost uncomfortable. I mean, we put this stuff out there to the world and like we're doing video now and we're doing all that stuff, but like I'm almost uncomfortable when people tag me in things or like when things go out like of me at this point in my life. Like I just feel overexposed sometimes. Like, and I think that's why I'm so uncomfortable posting things to my own Instagram, even like and I'm more comfortable posting it to my stories because I know it's going to be gone in 24 hours. Like I don't know what it is. I should probably work through it with a therapist. I'm just
I don't know that it requires therapy. I just think that it's just
your boundaries are allowed to flex and change as needed.
Absolutely.
No one's like gun to your head. You have to post on Instagram. Who cares? Get rid of it. You know,
there is a weird pressure. Like, and I hope that people are taking that pressure off of themselves because there was a time when if I didn't post for a week on Instagram, I was like, oh, I have to get something up. I have to put something up. You know what I mean? Like I need to post at least one post a week on Instagram. Like felt like that.
I had
for
that
a long
pressure
time.
too. And I just,
Yeah.
Like, I will tell you this. I think that COVID did one thing and that was let people take a breather from that kind of shit. Because like you literally had like,
you want a picture of my sourdough bread? Like that's all I have to offer you.
I know. Again.
Yeah.
The other thing I baked today, like, it's just, there wasn't content because we weren't doing anything.
Yeah. And then there was backlash against the people that were like producing content. Like, you know, here's us on our yacht or like on vacation, like blah, blah. And it's like, people are struggling.
I just
like,
think
we don't want to look at this right now.
I think I think being mindful of it is the thing, right? Like there are things I do want to share. Like I've been doing, you know, yoga every day and I'm getting better at certain things and I want to share those things because I feel really good about those things and I want to share them. But then like most things I'm just like, it's fine. You know, like the books I'm reading, I want to share those things. Like
that's cool.
You know,
Yeah.
Okay. Love life balance trend 2023. A lot of people have redefining what work and professionalism means to them in 2022, which I think is
smart
absolutely,
and I love it.
Yeah. And that is a product of the pandemic as well. Like people were like, no,
we're not. Yeah.
No, I ain't the one this year.
That's I'm struggling to find that right now. Again, I've been so spoiled the past few years. So finding that balance makes a huge difference.
It's big. It's everything.
It's everything.
Because it literally affects everything.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. You know, I've said it before. I don't remember. It was like, I think a James Patterson book had it as like one of the things like that, you know, juggling, right? You juggle all these balls in your life and work and things like that. They're like rubber balls. If it drops, it's going to bounce back. But the most important things in your life, your friends, your relationships, your family, those are glass balls. And if you drop them, there's a high likelihood they'll break. Yeah. So you have to like remember like what it just, I don't know. It was one of those things that like has always stuck in my head. I actually think that it originated from like a speech that was given for like a class or something. I don't know
how to not make everything a glass ball. That's the problem.
Right. Yes. Like, this is
anything
I
do decide to do, it's going to be done at like the utmost level of energy and attention I can give it. So I don't have any rubber balls in my life. If you were to tell me like some things are more important than others, I'd be like, no, everything's of exactly equal importance.
Right. But you know rationally that that's not true.
I know.
You know that it isn't true because
I can't take importance away from things that I know aren't that important. Mm-hmm. Like I can logically say that, but it doesn't stop that.
Yeah. I think that the thing to remember about that though is like, your attention is finite.
Yeah.
That's right.
You literally cannot focus and give equal attention and equal respect to a bunch of different things at once. You are
Hence
not
why
capable of it.
Miserable.
And respect, right?
That's
yeah,
a great word, though.
right. And respect, right? So
Yeah.
you have to like decide which things in my life am I going to honor,
Yeah.
right? And like and also which things in my life are honoring me back.
That's exactly
right.
right.
And it's just like
this job will never love you back, no matter what job it is. Not your job, not my job. That job will not love you back.
Yeah, but a lot of those glass balls ain't paying my rent. So, at
But
the
you know
same
what?
day.
You will always land on your feet. That's also
Yeah.
the thing that I learned, and that can be dangerous advice for people because it's completely anecdotal to my own experience.
right.
But the reason why I don't take things super seriously, I mean, I care about my job. I do a good job at my job. I fulfill my responsibilities there and, try to go above and beyond when I am able to. But at the end of the day, I've always felt like come what may, like whatever will be, and I will land on my feet because I have every other time in the past.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And usually I'm in a better spot afterwards. Usually.
Yeah, I think that, but then I'm always like, well, there's a first time for everything.
Yeah.
You know?
You can't rule your
personality.
life by that fear,
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, because the thing of it is you also have always landed on your feet.
Yeah.
You've had this shit happen to you. You know what I mean? You've
Are you guys also like, I wanted the Great Resignation to go further.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
are we almost overthrowing capitalism? And
I
then
did
I'm
too.
like
I'm
a
like,
little
so-
bit
Yeah.
disappointed.
It's not our fault. Capitalism will do whatever it needs to do to protect
three
itself.
people who did not resign.
Oh,
yeah,
I did.
I know.
Oh,
We're like,
well,
we
right.
wanted to
Yeah.
go. You actually did, and you did find a new job. Yeah. I mean, I feel like capitalism will always protect itself, and that's the thing.
know.
And you also have
Yeah.
to lay off feeling guilt for functioning as best you can within this late stage
True.
capitalism. Like if you want to go get that like $10 latte because it'll make you feel a little bit better.
Amen.
Don't let
Get that
any
latte.
boomer tell you that like
Well, not $10 is
Honestly-
not going to be like what keeps you from your dream.
That's
I'm sorry.
exactly-
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's not the dream home that I'm going to get because
You
I did.
lost it by $10.
Oh, you know
if
what?
only.
We could have offered you that loan had only.
if
Yeah.
you only hadn't stopped that
Sorry,
one time
you
for that
went
latte.
to Starbucks this week. So yeah, no, like
Life is hard.
Life is so hard, and like trying to live sustainably is of course so important. But like
Yeah.
also finding comfort where you can in this place where it's just all
Yeah.
hard edges. Like
So fucking true.
gotta do what you can. But okay, all that to say, love-life balance. This says when it comes to what people are looking for in a partner, 54% of people surveyed care more about their work-life balance than their career status. 1 in 10 people will no longer date someone who has a very demanding job, and 52% of people are actively trying to make more space in the rest of their life.
Wow.
And I think that that's true. And I do think like removing that importance from like, so what do you do?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
is,
yeah.
is really important, you know, and I do think that's a trend that's coming.
I love that.
I'm CEO at Self. 100.
Just don't put it on your dating profile.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
don't put it on your dating profile. School of Hard Knocks.
Oh no.
Entrepreneur.
You're like, okay, so what do you do? You're like, well,
I got my hands in a lot of projects
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
A lot of balls and a lot of
a lot of
cork.
plates
Uber,
spinning.
Instacart.
Yeah, which look,
Listen,
no
I ain't
shade
mad.
on those things
Dude,
at all.
I ain't mad at
fucking
you.
hustle.
Hustle,
Everybody's
yeah.
got to do what they got to do to get by. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
No
but also,
shame.
also realizing,
But you're not CEO itself.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, just
mind you.
realizing that like we have one life and like fuck it, kind of.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Truly.
Truly. No, I think it's great. I think it's great that we're removing the importance of like the job title.
Yeah.
Because I saw it happen with my parents, and I anecdotally know that it happens to a lot of people's parents where like they retire and they're like fucking done.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that was their job was so
Their identity.
much a part of their identity and their
Yes.
feeling of self-worth.
Yeah.
That like the amount of depression and stuff that happens when the job is gone. And I don't think that there are a lot of people in our generation who are going to feel that, you know?
No.
Like when a job's done, I'm like, I don't feel like it really defines me as a person.
Truly.
No.
I think that you're right. I think that the millennials have, or even Gen X, I would go as far as to say even Gen X has broken ties with identity equals your position, your job.
Right.
Younger Gen X for sure.
Yeah.
I think that like younger Gen X moved into that space because we started to see that apathy in that like grunge slacker kind of like
You don't
thing that was
say.
happening like towards, for younger Gen X.
Relatable content.
And then millennials tried really hard. They just got really jaded
Because they got so fucked. I mean, you guys started.
they tried hard. Like they were like, we're going to do this.
We expected it to be fucked. It was fucked.
Yeah.
And
we
whatever.
expected it to
not
work
be fucked,
for us and it didn't work. And so then that was fucked up. Gen Z doesn't expect anything.
Yeah.
And they're going to get nothing. So it's going to be another Gen X. I agree.
Yeah. And so it works out, in that way. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm excited to see where we're headed. Actually. Yeah, because our identities are not tied up in
I like it though.
our jobs.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that for us. I'm happy.
I love
to
it
see
for us. I love this journey for us.
I will tell you, and I agree, Christina. I think a lot of people, I saw it with my grandparents, like you were saying, like my grandma and my grandpa. Well, my grandma didn't work, right? So it was that traditional 50s house with like, she stayed at home, took care of the family. But when my grandpa retired, they never left their house.
Yeah.
I mean, they became like hermits practically. Then they get to the point where they don't answer their phone because they're afraid that everyone that calls is a scammer, which, I guess saved them from probably every scam. But all they did was sit in their house, watch nightly news and just be paranoid. So
or they can't stop. Like my grandpa, that's what happened. Like, and it's actually caused. I mean, it's fine, and not to out my grandparents' relationship. But like he was supposed to retire in 1997, which is when he married my step grandmother. Like, and that was the expectation. Was like we're moving into like a different phase of our life. Like he, had made these promises. He's still working. He's in his 80s now, his early 80s.
Yeah.
He is incapable of stopping. And I think in one respect,
he didn't want to do that.
Right. In one respect, I think it kept him young to a degree because it kept him focused on something. Sure. But also it's, had effects on his relationships because he can't stop working. It's such a part of his identity as a person is like doing things, getting things done.
My parents did the exact thing that I think we all should be doing, which is retired and fucking just traveled and just doing it.
If you can do
goal.
it. If you're privileged enough to
have the savings.
Sure,
have the savings.
Yes. They were like, save it McSaversons. So I mean they've definitely
that's the way I would do it too.
If I had the ability.
If you have the ability, for sure. I mean, but I think that's kept them young too because they have stayed active.
Yeah.
Not necessarily worked, but still stayed active.
Yeah, something to focus on. Yeah. I mean, to my grandparents' benefit, they do travel all the time. Like I think my grandpa's first time surfing, he surfed in Hawaii in his 70s. Like
I love
they're still doing things like all the time. As she just texted me. She just texted me that he got a hole-in-one when they were in like Sedona or something. They were golfing. So like they're still doing stuff, but at the same time, there is this feeling of like work as an identity.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I like those dating trends. It's
hopeful.
Hopeful. It is hopeful. I like it.
It is hopeful.
Yeah.
So who should we FMK?
Wow, there's no lead in here at all.
No, there's not.
Okay, I'm going to throw one out there because I really love when we do this. I love when we pick an actor and then we pick characters that actor has done.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have anyone specifically in mind, but I'm open to if you have someone. And here's what made me think of it. Okay. There is this TikTok where this dog is in love with Henry Cavill.
Oh, I've seen it. It's so cute.
God, it's
the cutest
adorable
thing I've ever seen. And
they have framed pictures of Henry Cavill all over the
way
place.
Like fans will send. I am just
so
cute. It's the cutest thing. And I swear, if Henry Cavill and I don't see those two together,
my God. He needs to make a trip for real. Like
he's not doing anything.
Because he's not Superman anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
that's so awkward.
Yeah, he's just like, no, I'm not coming back.
No, well, what happened? What happened was supposedly they were like, hey, bro, we're going to have you back as Superman. So he was like, spoiler alert, he's the Easter egg at the end of Black Adam as Superman. And so then he was like, yeah, that Netflix show Witcher, deuces, bitch, I'm Superman again.
No.
And then they brought James Gunn in, who was actually like, I'm not going that direction. So
no,
I'm
I
going
thought he
do
chose
it different.
to leave.
No. James Gunn's like, no, I'm gonna do like a younger Superman.
You're too old.
Did the same thing to Wonder Woman. So he quit that.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, done. Fucking Wonder Woman 3. No.
Imagine
James Gunn's
telling
like,
Gal Gadot that she's too old.
he's like, I don't know if he told it, but the Henry Cavill thing, he's like, I'm actually going in a different direction for Superman. So sorry. And so now like Henry Cavill's like, I quit my job. So now he's doing some Warhammer show.
Oh
I'm shooketh.
wow.
That's
And now all the Witcher fans are pissed off.
Oh,
probably.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's pissed.
I mean,
the nerds
Can
are.
he come back and be like, you know what I was said about being gone?
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Actually,
Can I
Turns
still do
out
it?
I am still interested.
you know what? I'm available. Some space cleared up in my schedule.
I wasn't expecting it,
So-
but it does turn
But it
out that
does.
my calendar is open for this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know who I was thinking? Natural Born Killers. What's his name? Why am I totally
Woody Harrelson.
Oh, Woody Harrelson.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
I love Woody.
You know who I'm gonna go with?
Okay.
Hot take. Would fuck him. Haymitch from Hunger Games. That alcoholic.
from fucking Hunger Games.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sticking to it.
Listen, I had a
Would you
full-
not? You wouldn't fuck Haymitch.
No.
You're like, what are the other options?
Listen, I got to think about this. I'm gonna go with what's the one with him and Demi Moore? The Yeah.
The Indecent Proposal.
Indecent Proposal.
All right.
You know, there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones so far on the table.
Are there?
You know, you got Woody Harrelson in True Detective.
Oh, okay.
You got Woody Harrelson in Natural Born Killers.
I
Oh.
don't think
You got
that's-
Woody Harrelson in nope, I'm getting him
Zombieland.
confused. It's not Dumb and Dumber.
Ooh, Zombieland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in Zombieland.
Yeah.
His Twinkie obsession keeps him alive in Zombieland.
He's
Great.
Yeah.
great in that movie.
He's done so
So
much
much.
stuff that it's actually hard.
And it's wild too. Like, okay, so like you know, like about his dad's like in prison.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. What
for
a great
killing someone else in his family, I think, wasn't it?
wild
I
dude.
thought so.
I don't know.
I don't remember, but yeah.
I'm going with True Detective Woody Harrelson.
Okay. I will be honest with you. I know what he looks like, but I do not know his storyline very well from True Detective. So if I can
Well,
get like
it spans a couple of decades.
Yes.
okay.
It's been a minute since I've seen it. Best season of True Detective.
Yes.
Truly. If what I remember is correct, isn't he kind of like
It's kind of shitty.
yeah,
an alcoholic,
he's
right?
kind of
Isn't that-
crooked. He's also an alcoholic in Hunger Games. So
Well,
yeah.
but he's a fun alcoholic. And
Yeah, he puts the fun in functional.
he also has good reason because he had to like murder a bunch of kids when he was a kid. So in the Hunger Games,
that'll do it.
That'll do it. Yeah, because I feel like True Detective, because the one who's like a little bit more morally upstanding is actually Matthew McConaughey in True Detective,
But
right?
he's
But
so
fucked up.
rigid and
Yeah.
fucking dark.
So you get
and
like
stuff.
the loose cannon cop, basically.
Yeah. Yes.
Alky cop. Okay. I think I know what I'm gonna do with
All
that
right.
one.
Share, please.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna marry Indecent Proposal.
Okay.
I know.
Wasn't he a little like jealous?
Yes.
He was. The whole Indecent Proposal was really shitty.
It's a problem.
It was a
Yeah.
problem. I
Yeah.
mean, it caused tension, but they did find their way back to each other. He's intense, but I think he's a good guy. Plus, he's an architect. There's a lot of future there. He's going. I do
Yeah.
think that he has the most potential.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Out of the
A
three.
loose agree. Yeah, because
Okay.
listen,
Of the three.
I'm rooting for Haymitch. I'm like, you can make a comeback.
Well, that I know.
You'll be okay.
I know. I have a
You just need a
question though.
little
You're
therapy.
saying Hey Mitch, but it's Hamish, right?
No, it's Haymitch.
it's
pretty
like
sure.
HEYMITCH.
Yeah, it's a TCH situation.
Oh.
It's HAYMITCH. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. Yeah,
Haymitch?
Haymitch Abernathy.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Glad. Double check.
Great.
Here's
Fuck.
a visual if you want. He's got a longer hair situation.
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah, he reminds
A
me
mess.
of he is like what Cody Brown wishes he
Shut-
looked like.
Oh, I'm waiting for the end to talk about what I'm watching. You are not wrong. Look at this picture.
Cody Brown
Cody
wishes
Brown
that he was
he had this kind
I
of
don't know who
flip out.
Cody Brown is.
Sister Wives.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
keep it to yourself because
You're right.
I watched the latest season and we have things to talk about
all right,
at the end of this episode.
That man
So-
is a garbage can full of other garbage cans, like a
On
fucking
fire.
Russian doll situation of trash.
And everyone knows it now,
Yeah.
and it's just, it has
Woof.
been a delight. But anyway, okay.
Okay.
Back to Woody.
I'm going to fuck Hamish.
Yeah.
Hamish. I can't marry him. And
Yeah,
I just
hear you. Valid. It's valid.
I
You would also have to live in this reality, which just seems pretty shitty.
really dark. Yeah, exactly.
Dystopian reality.
and ACAB. So and I said what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is rough. He's
And he's very.
he's very C.
Yes.
Capital.
Yeah. I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to marry Hamish.
Wow.
I'm going to do it.
She's like,
Here's the thing.
I love
I
a project.
can change him.
Oh man,
Here we go,
You're going
2023.
into 23 without energy.
I
I'm
can
making a
fix it.
note.
No, but look, all these men are fixer-uppers. There's not a single one
No,
that's not.
you're right.
It's
You're
true.
right.
It's
like
true.
because Indecent Proposal, Woody Harrelson is
He fixed himself. She did not fix him.
yes, but like his vibe in that movie upset me because he was so possessive and like, and I understand he did grow throughout the film and all of that stuff, and he's younger, so there is potential for him to be better. But
Yeah.
that I've dated that guy, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back there.
I dated Hamish.
Yeah, so you're like
Fun time drunk, but
yeah. So I think I'm gonna marry Hamish. I just feel like we'll listen to This Naked Life. We'll get through it, right? Like, I'll get him into some therapy. I think he just needs to process. He's had a really difficult childhood.
Yeah.
Also, I would join the revolution.
Obviously.
So I feel
Obviously.
like, we could be, there's solidarity there together. We can move forward.
Yeah.
Be right in the mix of things. I am going to fuck Indecent Proposal. I feel like we saw him fuck.
We saw
in that
him
movie.
fuck, and it was hot.
Extremely hot.
It was extremely hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel really good about that. Like,
Right.
honestly,
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's a good choice.
That's one that you will remember later. Like, you're like washing the dishes and you're like,
Woody Harrelson just on the table. Couldn't be good in bed, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson is one of those people who shouldn't be hot. We've had this converstion. You look at him and you're like, shouldn't be hot. Has a bit of an underbite. Like, shouldn't be hot. But
Should it actually be good in bed?
but there's
He's got
something.
an energy.
Yeah.
He's got a charm, a charisma, or whatever you want to call it. But he looks like somebody that has a full handful of ass, like just
or a full handful of hair.
and
Yeah.
just
Or
like
both.
smirking, you know, and
He's,
just
and,
like
he's always, every time he takes his shirt off, I'm like, oh, you're far stronger than I would think. You know what I mean? Like,
it's those. He just has that unassuming. I think the hotness also comes from the fact that objectively he's not crazy hot, so he has that little bit of attainability.
But he also has this like mystery. There's a lot of like mystery behind those eyes, like where you're just like, that you're gonna take that out on me.
Like
and
he's had like real experiences. Which is the other thing, which I think that you can tell. You can tell when somebody's had some fucking real shit happen.
And he seems very comfortable with himself too.
Yeah.
Like, because I think it would be very easy to be, even, we talk about it a lot with women because it's so much worse for women. But as a man too, especially in that field, to be comparing yourself to other leading men, like in quotes, like leading men. And like, he's never seemed like he's uncomfortable
with where he is,
with who he is.
Yeah,
he's just like, this is just who I am. I started balding at 25 and I leaned into it, and
it's like it fucking works for him.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah, and then yes, I'm gonna kill True Detective. I loved him on that show.
Yeah.
I thought he was incredible on that show, and his character had some real moments that were like fun. Fun is a rough word to use for that show. But had some good moments. But
dark drunk is not in my wheelhouse. I can't deal with dark drunk.
And he's shady. He's a shady cop.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't do a shady cop.
No, there's too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am going to marry Indecent Proposal.
Yeah.
I am going to because I am that fucking independent that like,
Yeah.
well, you can try to be possessive or whatever, but
Yeah.
in the end, like, I do what I want.
That's exactly fucking
Yeah.
right.
I just
Same
like,
thing.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no. So we'll nip that shit in the bud
Very
right
quickly.
quick, and the fucking gonna be good.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's that. And then I think, for a good time, a fun time, hey, Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little dark. Things will get dark there for a second.
as
But
dark
he'll bounce
For
back.
one night.
Not
That's
as dark as
Yeah.
True Detective?
Other
True
guy,
Detective, yeah.
He seems like True Detective Woody Harrelson seems like he'd cry afterwards.
oof.
Yes.
He's
You're going
got
to
that
tap
vibe.
into some deep emotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. And
I
that's not
definitely
a
can't do that.
that's not a one night stand you want to do. So yeah. Okay.
Ooh, I like
Good
that.
one.
Okay, I like that
Good
for
one.
us.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and then we'll come back with stories?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Cool.
And we're back.
Okay. Well, ladies, we got ours in from a listener. She says, "Hi, ladies. I've had so many truly horrific dates that I wrote a book about it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Oh, my.
It's coming out January 16th.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
So
just
just
in
a few
time.
days.
Yeah.
And it's called Will There Be Wine?
Oh, perfect.
It's about an American expat divorcee in Paris.
Oh.
bitch, I'm coming to visit.
I know. Re-entering the dating scene, playing by a new set of rules in a different language, culture, and lingerie standards.
Cassie, this sounds like up your alley.
I know.
Great.
Honey. Hi.
Also, we've never discussed that, but yeah, can we talk about the lingerie, like French women? I'm like, wow.
I need French women to write in and give me a
Yeah.
complete makeover.
I'm
I
literally
think
wearing
French
a sports bra right now. Like this is
style is
Yes.
fucking incredible.
Yes.
I think French women are beautiful.
It's so you too, like that, like 'cause it's very
Simple.
minimal, like
Minimal.
minimalist style, like
I love it. I need
capsule wardrobe situation.
love it. So she has 3 chapters in the book called The Internet, penned by the main character. Okay, it was me that she went on from the apps. So she'll share one of them here, but we'll put a link up. It's available to download for free.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
So if you go in our show notes, you can get it free before the launch to get like a book review.
oh wow.
So she's offering it for free.
Yeah, check the
And
show notes.
this is an actual listener. This isn't like a
No, no,
like
no,
an
no.
ad or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
We've
Which
not been paid for this.
I would love to support like
Oh, yeah.
people that are putting it out there and doing it.
Can
So
we also, oh my God, thank you for saying that, because forever we have been meaning to shout this person out, and I feel so bad that it has taken us
Yes.
this long. But City of Bones
on Insta.
on Instagram, they do like really, really cool like decor and artwork.
Yes.
Oftentimes using like bones and cow skulls and stuff, and then also using like foliage and plants and stuff. Beautiful,
Really?
truly, truly beautiful. And they had reached out to us, not to shout them out on the podcast or anything, just to say hi. And then we went and looked at their page, and we're like,
So
this
cool.
is so beautiful.
We're
And
always happy to like
Yes.
shout out listeners or
Yeah.
like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
And I
we
think
love
they're
it.
local to Columbus, but like go check them out. I don't
Columbus,
know.
Ohio?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Cool.
Yeah. And
Rad.
so I don't know if they ship across the country or anything, but go check them out, because give them some love, follow them.
What was it called again?
City of Bones.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
we'll put the actual handle, because I think there might be underscores and stuff in there. So we'll put the
Okay.
actual handle in the show notes. But
Yep.
yeah, I wanted to take that opportunity because we've been meaning to for weeks and haven't done it. So
Perfect. So without further ado, I give you one of many terrible dates from my book, Xavier the Sexist.
Oh.
You're gonna love this. Prepare yourself.
Keegan's already.
my
like,
eyes twitching already.
Occasionally, dear readers, I doubt myself. Is my list of rules too long? Am I missing out on
Probably
good
not.
guys that maybe just don't look good on paper? I was in this frame of mind when I matched with Xavier. In the bare minimum of exchanges, I discovered we were neighbors. Uh-oh.
No, I don't like that, because like if it goes south, they
Then-
know where you are, and
yeah.
also you're gonna have to see them again.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you're
you're
gonna
bumping
be
into that
taking
guy.
your
have
trash
the same
out.
convenience store that you go to. Yeah, it's just no.
Same bodega.
Yeah.
That's a.
So when he very quickly asked me out, I decided to throw caution to the wind and meet him the next day for a drink. Normally, I would have done more of a pre-qualification, but for whatever reason, the date was on. All I knew is he lived nearby and bore a striking resemblance to Ryan Gosling, which I had made a mental note of even before he casually pointed it out.
That's what did it.
French
You're like, I don't.
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, you're like, I don't give a fuck that you live next door, actually.
Yeah.
Hi.
That's why you threw
Hey,
caution
girl,
to the
hey.
wind.
Yeah.
Hey, girl.
She's like, I don't know why I
don't
did.
know why.
I do.
Ryan
I do.
Gosling with a French accent.
Are you
Have you
fucking
lost
kidding?
your mind?
I'm dead.
We're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
We agreed to meet at the Parc Georges Brassens, just a few minutes from where I live. I feel like, I wonder what arrondissement that's in. I feel like that's familiar from when I visited. 2 hours before the date, he texted me. So how does it feel to have a date with the best looking guy in Paris's 15th arrondissement?
I feel like nothing makes me
Look,
less.
you're hot.
You're hot.
Shut the fuck up.
I feel like Ryan Gosling wouldn't even say that.
He would
No.
not.
He wouldn't.
You don't need to. A lion doesn't need to call itself a lion.
Amen.
Okay. Hot people. Now you're just rubbing it in. So
Yeah.
just
I
be
don't-
hot.
Just be hot. You're already hot. You enough.
I rolled my eyes so hard I almost pulled my eye muscles and seriously contemplated canceling, but chose to reply, working against my better instincts. Modest, I see. He claimed it was a joke, but by that point, I was officially not feeling great about the prospects of the afternoon. I arrived at the entrance to the park and, seeing no sign of him, sat down on a bench to wait. Immediately, my phone rang. I see you. I'm by the fountain. Come on in, he said. I got up feeling slightly awkward, knowing he was watching me walk toward him well before I was able to spot him. We'd agreed to meet outside the park gates, presumably to head to one of the two cafes just opposite, but clearly he had other ideas. We said our hellos, sat down on the bench, and started the small talk. He said he'd brought a blanket if we wanted to sit on the grass and talk, or we can go to a cafe like we talked about. I was wearing a short dress, so I pointed out sitting on the ground maybe wasn't ideal. Don't worry, I won't look, he replied.
have to stop.
I won't look. I'm not worried about you, dumbass. Yeah. That's not why I said that. Fucking idiot.
You make plans, don't fucking change
That's
them.
exactly it. Like that is something that we in our shorter we were talking about stuff to leave behind in 2022, making plans and then changing the plans. Stop
We dress
doing that.
and prepare for the situation.
Yeah.
So like maybe I'm wearing wedge sandals and I don't want to go for a fucking hike because
Yeah.
you told me we were seeing a movie.
That's right. There's an expectation here. Like I just how inconsiderate. I hate it. And even if normally I'm like, okay, we can be spontaneous. We can sit and like have a picnic. But then she shows up and she's in a short skirt. Maybe be like, nah, never mind. Like,
Yeah.
No, can't see past that.
No. The small talk shifted to work and he told me about how he'd just been let go from his job. He was pretty incredulous about it, saying that the boss had it out for him and spending a lot of energy explaining the office politics between this guy and that girl and the other one, none of whom I knew, obviously. He was clearly not happy with the situation. So I tried to turn the conversation around by asking him what he loved to do and therefore what he thought he might do next. I'll stay doing what I'm doing now, of course, but there are just not that many jobs out here where you make 100,000 euros a year, he replied.
okay.
Ugh. French discussions of money have always fascinated me. Some claim the subject is totally taboo, that no one talks about how much money they make, but Xavier wasn't the first man to tell me his salary very early in a potential relationship. It was weird.
But do you think it's because she's American? Because I feel like
maybe.
Americans, it's not as taboo. Like it's like, what do you do? Like that kind of thing. People, I wish it was more taboo because it's nobody's business. But maybe it's because she's American that they're like, this is something that you value.
I actually wish that we made money not taboo at all. I think
do
that
too,
would lead to
actually.
more equality in pay if
agree.
everyone said.
Absolutely.
Like, this is what I make. You'd be like,
Right.
wait, you do the same thing I do
That's right.
over at this company and you're making that. Yeah. Let's make it
agree.
not taboo.
I agree in that respect, but there's also this idea because that's not how we do it in the United States.
No,
when we're
no, no,
talking
no.
about money, because it's not necessarily a taboo subject in the US, but it's because people are trying to brag about how much they make. It's
Right.
it's a thing about like it's a status thing.
Yeah.
They're not bringing it up because they're like workers unite equality.
no.
That's not why
They're
people
like-
are bringing up how much they make in the U.S.
They're like, actually,
they're bringing it up because they want to flex about how much they're making, like this guy is doing.
But the conversation continued, and about an hour into the date, and pretty much out of nowhere, he said, "I find you very agreeable. I think we should see each other again. Do you agree?"
Is this a Jane Austen novel? If a man told me I was agreeable,
I do find you quite agreeable.
I find you agreeable.
That's also that's
I don't
know
like
if you
that
know me at all.
adjective. I don't know if you know me.
Yeah, I am the
definitely-
least agreeable
I know.
person. I hesitated for a bit too long, and he looked genuinely perplexed by my
He's
reluctance.
like, but I'm hot. I don't know. Did you see me?
Have you looked at
I'm
me?
hot.
Actually the hottest man in
I make
Paris,
$100,000, €100,000.
You don't know.
Euros, yeah.
You don't know. You got fired.
Furrowed brow and everything, I decided to proceed with caution as my spidey senses had started to tingle. I am not sure yet, I replied honestly. Why? He demanded to know. Well, Xavier, I mentioned that sitting on the grass wasn't ideal for me since I'm wearing this dress, and yet here we are. I've mentioned twice that I recently went on a great vacation and you didn't even ask where I went. And you've spent most of the past hour talking about yourself, so I think maybe you're just a little too focused on you.
I really hope she said all that to him because like that, somebody like that needs to hear that just like that. It's like, look, the problem is you.
Yeah.
You're the problem. Hi. It's you.
It's you.
It's you.
It's not me. It's you.
It's you.
That's just not right, he returned snippily. We've only been talking for an hour, and of course I was going to ask about you eventually. You can't decide I'm not for you after only an hour. I can do it in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Actually,
Look,
yeah.
actually,
I'm buzzing.
Yeah.
Actually.
like Jeopardy.
Yeah. Actually, I can.
No,
and have.
I was gonna get around to you eventually.
Yeah.
It's been an hour. An hour is no
An hour
small
is a
amount of
long
time. What are you talking about?
I decided not to tell him it usually only took me 15 minutes or so to know if there's going to be a second date.
The fact that you're hot got you an extra 45.
Amen.
That's truly.
Amen.
You already got yours. You know.
But then he spent the next 15 minutes explaining we're both attractive, smart, and interesting, so clearly we're a match.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I feel like I keep interrupting you, but this is not a rom-com. Like, it's not just like hot people in vicinity fall in love. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be.
They're like,
something.
wait, you're an expat. We're in a Hallmark movie. This is how it's
Right.
supposed to
Small
happen.
town.
Me hot, you hot, we smash.
Equal.
And it's like,
Equal smash.
yeah.
Oh my God.
No.
I played nice and eventually made my excuses to go, saying I had plans to meet a friend. He asked me again as I said goodbye if we were going out again. I smiled, said we'd text, and walked away. And then this text storm started.
And he's your neighbor.
I said I'd like to see you again with pleasure, so the ball is in your court.
It certainly is. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Great. I admit I don't understand your hesitation, but will respect it, of course, if you don't want to see me.
Yeah, of course.
But at least my point of view is clear. I didn't respond straight away because A, I wasn't interested, and also B, I was indeed in transit to meet my friend. But 30 minutes later, a second ping. I'm waiting for an answer. It's not normal to hesitate when a date was that good on so many key criteria.
Oh.
It's a yes or a no. Don't overcomplicate
I'm sorry.
things.
I didn't get the one sheet of the key criteria before the
wow.
date.
What are my KPIs?
Yeah. Can you send an email? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Could you Slack me that?
Slack.
Yeah.
I need to. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Listen, Xavier, it's a no. You're a nice guy, but not a match
no.
for me. Sorry. Wishing you lots of luck personally and professionally.
If it makes you feel any better, you're hot. So take
Yeah.
that with you to bed
You're
tonight.
hot and goodbye.
Yeah.
And then the texts just start flying in one after
So it's
another.
not just an American thing, huh?
Yeah, no. This shit is universal, baby.
Wow.
Can you tell me why? I'm bilingual. Good job. Good looking Parisian guy. Where's the problem? It's frankly humiliating for me. Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
I'm not enough for you? Incredible.
How dare you?
I've never
dare
experienced
you.
anything like this.
Have you ever seen me?
Clearly, you've never experienced anything like this. Like, this is somebody who lives in a hot guy bubble. Who's like, I have never
Never.
in my life.
How dare you? No wonder you're alone.
slaps
You
you with
must
a
have a
glove.
crazy collection of sex toys.
Also, you're saying that like it's an insult? Look, first of all, sex toys are expensive. If you walk into somebody's house and they have like they have a drawer, an array, I'm like, you spent coin on that.
And you know what to do. And I like it.
And that's the sign of an independent person.
That's
I'm like,
right.
you don't need anybody to get your shit done at all.
You don't.
I don't even need a drawer full of toys.
Yeah,
It's
just, you know, like
Just,
Yeah, I listen, I don't need him, but I like it. I like the variety.
I mean, I don't need a lot of things, but
sometimes you
but
want
does it make my life better?
No, variety's the spice of life.
That's right. Too bad I was only interested in your big boobs anyway. Bye.
Bye.
But I want, but
Bye-bye.
I want a valid reason. I can't believe you walked away from me like that.
Wait, you said bye. This conversation's over.
These are literally boom, boom, boom.
Is it screenshots?
No. I
God,
wish.
okay.
I hope maybe it is like that in the book. That would be cool. But I want a valid reason. I can't believe you walked away from me like that.
Oh my God.
No one does that to me. The
No one
bye
does that to
followed
me?
by the
Gaston?
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
looks like this. Oh my God. Oh man, it's still not over. I'm waiting for a reason or several. Go ahead.
Block him.
I'm waiting. I hate cowards. So, what is your problem? Is it that I make more money than you?
You know what? You know what she should do is she should just screenshot all of this and send it back to him.
Oh, yeah, be like, this is
my
what you
reason.
look like.
This is my reason. Look at this. You look insane.
You look
stupid.
stupid.
Insane.
You actually
This
just
is-
look stupid
Stop.
right now.
Yeah, you look so stupid. What if
just
she
actually
just
look
leaned into her Americanness?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh
You
my
just-
God.
Why are
So
you so obsessed with me? You look so stupid.
Would I?
Oh God. After that last message, I blocked him. And not because he didn't have a good job or make more money than me, but really, in the history of time, has any woman ever had a problem with a guy making more money than her? It was all just so ridiculous.
Because you make more money than me.
Yes, that's it. Block. I can't handle
I
it.
can't handle it. My ego is too involved.
I briefly considered sending him a reply saying, "Oh, honey, you don't make more money than me." Or perhaps less snarkily, remember an hour ago when you said you respect my choice if I didn't want to see you again? Is this what you think respect looks like? But the poor thing was clearly a fragile narcissist with anger management issues and my neighbor. So I decided the better choice was just to take the high road and put a giant block up behind myself so he couldn't pass. Now I just have to pray to the gods of the 15 arrondissement that we never cross paths in the street close to home.
I don't understand men
The
like
way
this.
if I accidentally bump into a Ryan Gosling type.
Paris will be like, I heard about you, motherfucker.
Oh,
your
I know
ass
about
shit.
you. Yeah. No, but like I
Do
just
you know who you are?
I know who you are.
'Cause
I
I
know
know.
who you are. No, I just feel like has this ever worked for anyone? Like what is the and I always end up thinking like what is the end goal? What are you trying to accomplish by doing this? Because this person isn't going to suddenly be like, actually, you know what? Now that you've laid it out like that, you're right. I should get back with you.
It's not
The way
it's not a good look on anybody. It's
so
and if
weird.
you find yourself doing that, because listen, I know it feels bad to be rejected or to be ghosted or whatever, but it feels better to have dignity.
Yeah,
Yes.
dignity. There it is.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna feel lower if you do that text thing, and then like in the shower the next day you'd be like,
I can't believe I did that.
I can't believe I did
no,
that.
I mean, and
You're-
also
it's not gonna make-
realizing having that self-awareness to understand that like not everyone is for everybody. And like
Right.
you're not for everybody. It doesn't matter how hot you are. You're for somebody. Even this guy, like he's for someone. There's someone who won't mind all of that like weird pompous shit he was doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so it's just you're not for everyone. And sometimes regardless of how good looking you are, you're not going to hit it off with somebody. And
Right.
like
Yeah.
that's fine. You've just had this expectation that you can skate by because you look a certain way for so
Right.
long. And it's just silly. Thank you for writing in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Amazing. The way though that I'm like, Paris single.
I mean, we could
single Paris. Oh my god.
Well, we're not single, but we could do a girls trip to Paris if we wanted. We're
Would.
adults. We can do what we want.
I
We
mean,
could do what we want.
would I
Yeah.
have
Let's-
I have miles for
okay,
it.
we're
Let's do it.
done.
All right, here we go.
2023. We're going.
See you guys.
Bye.
All right. So this story, this first date was with a 29-year-old wannabe TikToker.
Oh.
So to preface this,
the vibe in here.
Yeah.
Immediately. Okay.
Met this sexy, short, and submissive dude in a gay bar. He grinded against me. We made out and had a good time. Exchanged numbers. Met up, watched a movie, went home, and had some insane tension the entire time, leading to a very sexually compatible evening.
Wonderful.
Offered to meet up for some dinner, going half and half at my favorite restaurant in the city after work, and Jesus Christ, strap in for the story.
Okay. All right.
I'm
the
buckled
scene
up.
is set.
Yeah.
Turns out he's trying to make a food TikTok and takes it very seriously.
Okay. I feel like our I want to be respectful because I feel like our reactions have been strong. And I actually think it's a legitimate, like nowadays,
Absolutely.
like social media is actually like a completely legitimate like career path, and
100.
like finding success on social media is a completely legitimate career path. However, we have all met those people who just take themselves. We've had a podcast for 5 years.
Do you want to be the other half of something like that? That feels so exhausting.
No, I mean, we've had a podcast for 5 years that we take seriously. Like this is a business. We've taken it very seriously, but I don't think we've ever made it a thing.
Yeah. I mean, is it up on my LinkedIn? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yes, but it's not. I don't know. There's a difference.
I know
We
what
all
you
know
mean.
those people.
Yeah.
Like we all know those people who take themselves just like a little too seriously.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we do take this podcast very seriously. We've done a lot, but this is a lot.
okay. All
The
right.
moment we walk into the dimly lit Japanese restaurant, small, he whips out his phone and starts recording a clip for TikTok with the flash on.
Now, see, this is the other thing. So back in my day, it used to be like you were an Instagram content
Yeah.
creator,
Right.
which is just pictures.
That's right.
Now
Which
it's
is-
video.
Now
Yeah.
it's like you loud as fuck in a nice dim restaurant being like, hey guys.
Hey,
everybody.
Hey
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Are you gonna do you're gonna do a dance in the middle of Dillard's or something? Yeah. Like everybody chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of it too. Is like as seriously as we take this podcast, we're not making it other people's problem.
That's that's what it is.
It's in the house. It's in house.
Very
You know what I mean?
insular, exactly.
Yeah.
We sit down. He looks at the menu and orders a cocktail to start. I was drinking the night before, so I said, I'll pass. His drink arrives and he asks me to toast with my waters and record it for his TikTok twice because he didn't like it the first time and says, it would look better if you had ordered a cocktail. I'm so weirded out by this point. Okay, well, I didn't want one. Mind you, during this entire date, we probably had about a half an hour in, and he hasn't asked me a single question. Not even, how was your day?
Nah, he's working, honey.
Yeah.
He's making that content.
I'm sorry, he's actually on his job right now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you're just kind of...
Yeah. Don't make other people participants in your job.
Yeah.
Like,
that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, you went to work with that dude.
Yes.
Without consent. Right.
Yeah.
Like
That's
it's like
exactly
if
right.
you told me, honestly, because
Truly.
we've made TikToks. I think TikTok is great. We talk about it all the time. I
yeah.
love TikTok. If we wanted to shoot something like for TikTok, I'd be like, do you guys want to go out today and like take some videos for TikTok? Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, you
no,
guys
that's
know that
really
that's what we're
appreciated
doing.
because like some people don't care and they're like, yeah, but some people like myself, I'm like, I got to mentally prepare
That's
myself
right.
for that kind of thing.
Yeah, like let me put on
Yeah.
some makeup.
Let me
I gotta
just-
fucking make sure my hair doesn't look a fucking mess. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to call my friend to emergency exit, but this food is so good. So I just waited out and plan to leave ASAP after I'm done.
Been there.
At the same time, it's starting to become laughable, but somehow it only gets worse from there. The food arrives, and not only does he take forever to start eating because he is recording everything, but I get tired of it and start to try eating. I'm dipping my chicken karage?
Yeah, I think so.
Into a spicy garlic sauce, and he asked me to
Yum.
do it again
That does sound
when I try to eat. I dip the chicken again, looking right at him with the Lady Gaga's pheromone tearaway expression. He says he wants to order another drink, quote, for the content, and asks the server for his recommendation. And the server brings it to him. He tries a sip and says he doesn't like it and that he wants to exchange it for something else with the kitchen. Oof. I'm honestly in disbelief at this point. Like, how does someone like this even exist? Yet somehow it gets worse. He makes me record
Oh, see, now you're really
Yeah.
working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're doing me.
Now
I'm
you're-
gonna have to do like I'm like a DP at
now-
this point.
I
Like,
just want to eat my goddamn chicken.
yeah.
He makes me record a toast now that there's 2 cocktails, despite him wanting to bring the cocktail back to the kitchen. I fucked up my fingers a few weeks before and have a subungual hematoma. I'm assuming,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're in the shot, and he says essentially, I'm just gonna have to put a notice like, don't mind his fingers, and that he hopes my fingers make the video go
All right,
viral.
I gotta go. Can I get this wrapped up? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, can you put this chicken in a box? I'll eat it at home. Like,
Yeah.
enough. I can't.
It's a lot. At this point, I just start laughing because I just can't hold it back anymore. Like, what the fuck is this? I also start going to on my phone and just texting a bunch of friends like, this isn't real. What is
Get
this
me out
date?
of here. Yeah.
After being on my phone and starting to check out of the date completely, finally, after an hour, now is when he asked me the first question relating to me. So, what's on your mind? I feel like, is this the same guy?
Oh, yeah. Honestly.
Yeah,
After
could-
an hour.
An hour in.
Oh my God. Conversation is actually between 2 or more people.
What?
It's a give and take.
So there's
You're
more.
not monologuing, monologuing.
Monologuing. Ah, new term
Wow.
for
New
2023.
Term. Stop monologuing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
that's
this.
the new mansplaining. You're monologuing at me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I like
love
this.
it.
I like
I love
this.
it.
You heard it here first, and
Yes.
now it's on video.
TM. We're
TM.
putting a
TM, monologue.
trademark.
Only took you an hour, bro. I tell him about things going on in my life and some of my aspirations that are a bit of a time limit. He doesn't ask me a single follow-up or talk about anything I had just said. Instead, opting to let me know that that the TikTok he posted earlier in the day prior to us meeting up got 300 views in 5 hours. I'm still in
Wait,
disbelief.
I'm sorry. 300. We're on TikTok, and 300 views in 5 hours is not very many.
I mean, it's a pretty.
It's
It's basic.
fine.
It's
It's
basic.
fine.
fine.
It's fine.
It's not.
We can brag because the last TikTok we put up got 500 in like 3 hours. So how about
Ooh,
that?
yeah.
Like, what a weird thing to brag
What a
about.
weird
Great.
flex. I'm still in disbelief. Thankfully, the bill comes and I pay for my food. He pays for his, and I try to leave as soon as possible. I leave the restaurant, and he tries to record a neon sign at the restaurant a bunch of times before joining me. We part ways, and I'm just laughing at myself. As soon as I'm out of earshot of him, what the fuck was that? How do people like that exist? How do 29-year-old men like this exist?
Oh, honey.
I think I'm going to take a little break from this dating thing. He also edits that the TikTok was not posted when he posted this, and that he just blocked him.
Wow. That's amazing.
It would
such
be
a
it would
real-
be awful because and I don't know. I feel like I've been very dismissive. I don't mean to be. I know that this is a valid thing to be doing. Trying to make it on
100.
TikTok
Modern
is
problem.
it's such a modern problem and such a valid thing to be doing at this point in life. But like making that everybody else's thing to the point where you can't have any human connection with another person is like
yeah, you're on a date. You need to just like
be present.
be present.
Yeah.
It's-
And it sucks because it does feel like everything else lined up for them.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
It was going well, and it's like, yeah, do that stuff in your own time. You're not trying to like listen. And I love a good multitask. I do. You're like, I'm already going to this restaurant. I
Might
can
as
date
well.
and do this. It's not going to work. So yeah.
Not if you're doing it like that. Like
No.
if it's just a casual, like, oh, because we've done it when we've gone out. I'm like, oh, let's do a cheers of like what we're doing when we're out on our
Exactly.
business
And then
dinner.
that's it.
And then that's
And then you
kind of
put the
it.
phone
You know
away
what I
and
mean?
that's it.
Because
Exactly.
being present is so important. And I feel like we're losing it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was on an online dating site for about 5 months. I'd gone on several dates, and some didn't go past phone calls. The one thing I learned from online dating is everyone has a story. Everyone. There are some deal breakers and some just strange people. Here's one of my strange stories, and the worst yet. His blue eyes, blonde hair, and athletic body. Is this Ryan Gosling?
Oh my God.
Blue eyes, blonde hair, and athletic body profile picture caught my attention.
Yeah.
We chatted through the site briefly before exchanging phone numbers. His deep, strong voice matched his 6'3" body as seen in his pictures perfectly.
Okay.
We talked and texted every day for about a week and even exchanged a couple of pictures. Normal headshots at work, she says.
Oh, okay.
Not
Hey,
sexy
listen. Sexy pictures are fun too.
Yeah, we're not judging.
I ain't judging it.
I learned that he was a huge Florida Gators fan. He talked about them constantly. He said he had many gator figurines just randomly placed around his house and could tell if they'd been moved or touched.
Oh, okay.
It's like Annie Wilkes in Misery when she's like, that penguin always faces east.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh. I told him I wasn't much of a college football fan, but if I were cheering for any team, it would be the Georgia Bulldogs, of course. Many of my friends attended UGA. He told me that they sucked and told me I was now a Gators fan.
Oh, well, we're done.
Yeah,
I
imagine,
was just gonna
Cassie.
say,
Could
like,
you imagine?
If somebody tried, what if it was a Michigan fan?
No, first of all, that wouldn't even happen. But if let's
Like,
throw
I
another
would date
Big
a
Ten
Michigan
team out there, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, now you're a Rutgers fan. I am not actually.
Wow.
and won't be. So.
Yeah.
I mean, but even so, it's probably more similar to my experience because I'm not a big I'm not a big sports fan. But still, you don't get to
But
tell
she
me.
is a fan of a team.
Well, but she said she's not a big college football fan, but she
Sure.
would root for
Okay, right.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Bulldogs because her friends go to that school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so what? That her fervor isn't to the same degree as yours. She wants to root for this team. Shut the fuck up.
You don't have
Honestly.
to do everything together.
That's how you
Weird.
know you
You
love
don't
someone.
have to have the exact same opinions and do all of the things together.
Right.
That's not how this works.
Right. We met up at a bowling alley that was in between both our houses. I was there first and noticed him right away as he walked in. He walked up to me, picked me up, swung me around, and kissed me on the lips. This is the first time we've met.
Wow. My
Feels
God,
like a
isn't-
lot.
That is a lot.
Thoughts in my head. What the hell is this guy doing? You better not kiss me again. We sat and talked for a little bit. Then he said he had a surprise for me. He pulled out a little bag from his back pocket and gave it to me. Inside the bag was a gator shirt and matching panties. Okay.
Listen, we just talked about lingerie. And that
Gator.
Ain't it. That
Florida
ain't
gator.
It. That ain't it. That
I think it would be. I'm not a fan of Florida Gators or the Florida Gators, but I kind of would think that it would be funny to have like Florida Gator underwear. I think is very funny to me.
Okay, the shirt I didn't mind, but what's
this
the
is your
deal?
first date.
First
It's
date.
weird.
It's so
First
weird.
date.
But what's the deal with the gator panties? Seriously, this guy is getting more strange by the minute. As if that wasn't awkward enough, he asked me if I could change into my panties and shirt in the bathroom and take a picture for him. You're at the bowling alley. He's like, no, go in the bathroom.
Listen, and I don't think. Here's the thing. Okay, so he's like, so let's change into it or whatever. Is there anything like less sexy than a bowling alley?
No. And we
No.
were just at one. And
I
we
know.
had a great
and
time.
we had a great
but it
time,
is
but
not
I'm
a
like, it's not a
sexy
sexy place.
No, nobody is banging.
I
Bowling
hope
alley.
not.
Oh,
Because first of all, I feel awkward as fuck. I'm like, like
Yeah.
yeeting the ball
Yeah.
down the fucking
Yeah.
thing
Me
and
too.
trying
in
not
somebody
to
else's
fall.
shoes, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And the least sexy shoes you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Everybody automatically looks like Sideshow Bob. It's not cute. Like, yeah.
Oh God.
I just looked at him like he was crazy and said, "You're joking, right?" He said, "Well, if you don't want to do it here, then you can come back to my house. I only live 15 minutes up the street."
No.
I would rather not.
No crazy underwear man. I don't
Okay,
want to.
Clearly, this guy is some type of crazy, and I just want to go home now. I went to the bathroom and called my sister-in-law to tell her to call me in 3 minutes. She's reserved for situations like this. When she called, I acted as though they needed me to come over and watch my niece because their babysitter canceled last minute. My excuse every time.
There you go.
I apologized to him and told him I couldn't take his gift. He insisted I take it and made plans to see me the following weekend. He texted me that night to ask if I had tried on the panties yet. I blocked his number entirely after that. Incidentally, the gator panties are my favorite at-home
Amazing.
panties for lounging. They are the most comfortable panties I've ever worn.
Listen, hey.
He doesn't get to enjoy them, but she's at home.
No, yeah, exactly. I'm like, they sound amazing though.
Honestly.
Wait, yeah.
Somebody
Oh,
else
man.
gets to enjoy those panties, so there you go.
No.
Oh, God. We've said panties way
I
too
really
was-
hate the word panties, but it's the word she used. So, you know.
It was very much like a monologue episode.
Yeah, it's a monologue.
It's like
Yeah.
guys wanting to like put on these pants. Like,
Do
no,
this.
Stop.
No.
Stop.
Think about what you're doing. Do better.
Stop. Hammer time.
Exactly. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with the Tainted Love?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Cool.
And we're back. Christina, tell us your tainted love.
All right. I am very, very excited to share this story with you.
You read a whole fucking book, dude.
I did.
You read a whole book, like not even like a short book. I really consider
380-page book.
anything close to 400 is like, that's a book, like a serious hardcore.
Well, I was searching, as you do, for a true crime story that really like resonated with me or what have you. And so I started on So Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Or whatever that show.
Amazing.
That show is so bananas.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, like, and then the very first one I put on, I was like, yeah,
This
is the one I'm going to
one.
tell. So I got my inspiration from there, but I actually was like looking, couldn't find articles, but then found that there's like a book that she worked really hard with an author to write about her life, her experience, like all of that. So I was like, I got to get this book in order to have good information. And the book really, really good.
And you read it on your phone.
Yes. Yes, I did.
That's a skill.
I did it at night when I would go to bed. I would like just try to read as long as I could before I fell asleep because it's just been so crazy this week. So yes, this, I'm not going to spoil it because I just want to take you guys on a journey.
All
with me.
right. We're on a ride.
Okay. Judith Lorraine Mawson was born premature to her 18-year-old mother in 1944.
Okay.
Wow.
This is in Washington. So
Like
at
my
the
grandparents'
time,
age.
yes, at the time, Helen was 18. She had met a dashing soldier named Wesley who had to go off and fight the Nazis in World War II. And she waited at home for him. And home for Helen was with her Uncle Silas because Helen's parents had died. So her Uncle Silas kind of took over raising her. And he had this farm/property in Washington where they would like grow potatoes and grow their own food. And like Helen would do all like the washing and the cooking. And they just like settled into this farm life. And then when Helen got pregnant, Uncle Silas was like, all right, I don't know nothing about raising a baby, but we'll make it work.
I don't know nothing about raising no
So
baby.
No kids.
He got out the cradle or whatever that he made when he had to adopt like Helen or whatever and polished it up and got it ready for another
so
baby.
Uncle Silas, what's up?
I know, right?
MVP.
Exactly. He's truly the sweetest. So they make it work. She's born premature, but she has to spend a month in the ICU, but she's growing fast. She's fine. She gets to come home and they settle into a routine. They're able to take care of the baby, take care of the house and everything like that. And soon, because 1944, the war is almost over, Wesley does actually survive and comes home. He takes one look at Judith and was like, that's my baby. That baby looks exactly like me.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he's like, all right, let's get hitched. Let's get married
Let's
or
do
whatever.
this for real.
And so they get married and Wesley moves in with Uncle Silas and whatever. They've got the land and stuff.
It's a lot of family. Yeah.
Wesley had just come back from war.
Yeah.
He's got some trauma he's got to deal with.
He's got trauma, but also it's like small rural life is not like doing it for a young man who's gotten to see the world.
Imagine going through what those people went through and then coming back and being like, okay, well now we're just going to settle into a nice quiet life. And you're like, wait, I have a lot of shit I got to process.
I've seen things.
Yeah. And
Yeah. So he was not about this life. He was like, I think he did like love Helen and love his daughter, but he was just like, it wasn't it. That wasn't the life. So he like moved him around a couple of times, but then just stopped like kind of coming around. And like,
I feel like men really had very few options to cope with their shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like there was a lot of like options on the table to try and like work through your mental health. You know what I mean? It was just like,
no.
You're like, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they would look at you like you're saying a different language if you actually said the words mental health in the 40s.
If you were like,
they'd be
I think I need to find a therapist. They're like, what?
They're like, actually, I got this thing I'm going to stick up your nose. We're just going to do a real quick reach around in your frontal lobe and that'll
cut her right out.
Cut those thoughts right out of your head.
Wow.
So, okay. So he effectively like kind of abandons them. And then like the 50s, Korea War starts and he's like, I'm going to re-enlist. And sadly, tragically, he's
Awful.
killed. So that's the short story of Wesley. But like Judith loved her Uncle Silas and Helen, and they really did have like an idyllic
Family
childhood.
unit.
Yeah.
They had their own
considering,
family unit. Families can look however.
Yes. But, you know, Helen was like, I'm a young woman.
Yeah.
My husband's kind of abandoned me.
Yeah, she was 18 when
was
she had her
18.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, you know what?
Same girl, same.
She starts dating and she meets this nice guy named George, and they like really hit it off. George is really great with Judith. And by this time, Judith had been very spoiled, especially in that way of like late 40s, early 50s. Like, she pretty much got her run of the land. Uncle Silas was wrapped around her finger, and she had a young mother.
Shirley Temple curls, just
Yeah, so she
bouncing in the wind.
She got to do whatever she wanted.
Yeah.
She didn't really have any rules, and she was kind of spoiled. So George coming in was kind of perfect timing for Helen when she's like, I need someone to help me like stop sparing the rod with this child. Because
I don't think you do. I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
You can spare the rod as much as you want.
So he started laying down rules. Like, and so Judith
is like, first of all,
like,
fuck you.
not having it.
Number
She didn't
one.
like the rules. She wished for a daddy. And so at first she was like really, really excited to have George enter their life. But pretty soon it was like, this ain't it. Like, I'm not liking these rules. And
Careful
she was
what you
starting
wish
to get
for.
Yeah.
really angry. And then he was doing this thing where he used to swing her around and stuff like that, and dropped her. Just a complete accident, head first onto concrete.
Oh, head injury. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, a bad head injury. So Judith had to go see doctors and started developing grand mal seizures.
Oh, no.
So yeah, she's like began to have a lot of anger problems. She would also have seizures in school when like being different is always not going to be fun for kids.
Right.
But it affected her reading capabilities. So when she had to read in front of the class, like she would get teased. She would have seizures where she would wet herself and stuff, which is like,
Yeah, that's...
you're like an 11, 12-year-old girl.
No.
It's a nightmare.
I look back. I mean, I read a little bit on our TikTok, but I found my elementary school diary. I have it now. And like elementary school was brutal.
Yeah.
It's like,
brutal.
because it's just like everyone, I was brutal. Like even in my judgments in my diary about like other people, in my class, like
Kids
it's just
are ruthless
because they have no concept of like no real lived understanding of empathy.
Yeah, we're little
So,
narcissists.
Yeah. You think that you're the main character and everybody else is a side character to your story. So you can be really cruel.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, who among us, I saw a tweet that was like, did you used to read ahead to know what line you were going to have to read in class and practice that line?
Yes.
Or are you like, okay now? And I'm like, no, we all have anxiety. Like every single one of us who like had to read in public and everyone had to read a sentence and you had to read ahead to figure out which sentence yours was.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Like that's anxiety provoking for me. And I don't have dyslexia or anything like that.
So, I mean, not only was she a complete outsider in school, Helen soon had a baby with George and got married. So now she felt like an outsider in her family, which I can definitely understand. Yeah. Although like George and Helen loved her, supported her and everything like that. She's like, well, now I'm not their baby. Their baby is born now. So she began to resent the little bit. She's also like 12 or 13
You
at
and your
this
sister
time.
still have this, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, you ruined everything.
Did I ever tell the story about Anthony's aunt and uncle? His uncle was born, and he's the baby of the kids, and he was born on his aunt's first communion. And so they had to leave her first communion and she hated him for like their whole life. And like, actually, whenever she was a kid, and this is not, it's only funny because everyone's okay, but she was a kid and she was like a little kid and she like hated him and she had him in the stroller because she's like old enough to be pushing him in the stroller, and she let him go at the top of a hill and just like, whoopsie.
Bye.
Oh, I don't know what happened. Loose grip.
Well, not only that, because Judith was having the seizures, they were like, do not go near the baby. Don't touch the baby.
You
don't
can't be
hold the baby.
holding the baby.
Yeah, you're unreliable. Like, you're not. So she was
Poor
really
thing.
like, disconnected. Yeah. So like she just gets like really angry about this whole situation. Her mom has another kid. She's just angry. And pretty soon they're like, we can't really handle you at the public school because you're like, she was starting to fight back against being, and it was like the 50s or whatever. And they're like, you cannot behave like that.
Well, you know, like maybe if you'd done something about the bullies, she wouldn't feel like she needed to protect herself.
Right.
At
So
school,
they kicked her out in 8th grade and her parents are like, you're going to a reform school. So they put her in a reform school, which made Judith like angrier, like effectively abandoning her. And then when she got done with that facility, they were like, Helen and George were like having more kids and stuff like that. We're like, we can't handle your seizures or whatever's happening. So they committed her to a mental institution.
Christ.
So Judith was committed to a mental institution for like a year.
Where's Silas?
Yeah, no, Silas had since grown old and died. Like this was like
Uncle Silas wouldn't have allowed this to happen.
I know.
Honestly.
But yeah, it's so she's 18 when she finally gets out of the mental institution and she comes back home and she's now considered like an adult with her parents. So she's smoking at the kitchen table with her parents or whatever. And they're like, all right, well,
she's 18.
She's 18.
All right.
They're like, well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do now?
No.
So she's like, she didn't know what to do. She had basically no high school education. She was just like living at home, kind of helping her mom out with the kids. And she's like, I'm just going to start going to church or whatever. So she meets people at the church and they start to accept her or whatever. And she's like, this is more acceptance than I've ever felt like in my life. This is making me really happy. And in particular, there's a man named Lee who starts paying attention to her. So Judith is tiny. She's like 5'1". Lee is kind of a tiny guy too at 5'6". So they were like, they just like looked really good together. He was neat and very like fastidious and he was very formal. Like he would always call her my lady.
Oh, did he wear a fedora? I have to know.
Oh no.
So
my lady is a real red flag.
I don't like that. I don't. Imagine if I'm sorry.
If
Imagine milady.
I swear.
Oh, just wait. So she thinks like he is a fancy man.
He is Mr.
Dapper Dan.
He's my knight in shining armor.
Exactly. And I need to get the fuck out of this house because I'm just like tired of being with my parents and everything like that. So I'm going to marry.
She's looking for an out.
She's looking for an out.
For love in all the wrong places.
So Lee comes from like a kind of wealthier family,
Well, of course,
an
he says
educated
milady.
family.
Yeah, he's a fancy man.
He's a fancy man. Speaking of monologues, this is really so funny that this goes into the theme. But yeah, so his family is a little well off. They think Judith is trash. They don't like her. And then Judith's family is like, this bitch is not ready to get married. They don't even show up to the wedding.
They're like,
so it is a bummer of a
But
wedding.
they have done nothing but like not support her entire
Honestly,
life. Like
right.
come on.
You fucking dropped her on her fucking head.
Dropped her
and
on
then
her
we're
head.
like, fuck you. Your
Yeah.
fault now. Your problem.
And then
Yep.
you put her in a mental institution instead of maybe trying to address like why she's having the and look, I'm not trying to put shade on the fact that she needed assistance.
The 50s where I'm
Right.
like, she's lucky she didn't get fucking lobotomized.
Yeah.
Jesus.
True.
Yeah.
It's true.
She's really lucky she got to keep all of her brain because,
Yeah.
she was in on the tail end of when that shit was still happening.
But then I'm just like, look, man, I mean, and you know what? Actually, I don't know where this is headed. I'm going to reserve my comments. Let's just.
So she marries fancy man Lee.
Great.
Lee moves her into his house. He's been working at Bethlehem Steel. He's got a good job. And this is back in the days when one good job was enough to fucking afford a house.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So he's got a nice kind of small starter home in Washington. And he's like, here's the rules. I'm a very fancy man.
I hope he said it like that.
Excuse me.
First of all, rule number 1, I'm a very fancy man.
I'm a fancy man and I like fancy dinner. So you must be dressed in long dresses and makeup.
Is he buying her all these evening gowns?
Yes.
Okay.
He's going.
Okay.
He's buying her
Fair.
fancy
I might
dresses.
wear an evening gown to dinner if
And
someone bought me one.
Candlelight and full 3-course meals every night because I'm a fancy man. And the whole place, your only job is to keep this house immaculate.
Ooh, that feels like a lot of work.
It's a lot. It's a lot. This apartment isn't very big, and if I was asked to, I can keep it clean. But you're asking me to keep it immaculate.
But you also have a full-time job. I mean, if you didn't have a full-time job, maybe.
I mean, even then, I'm like, shit can pass you by.
Like one time, because Judith is 5'1", remember? So he went high up one time and put like a finger in the dust, or he put the date and then he just waited to see how long.
I hate that
that is some
dumb
passive
shit.
aggressive. Yeah.
I hate that shit.
Yeah. So,
and that's before they had them stretchable Swiffers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She's got to get a chair or something to stand on.
yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what she had to do. Now, the thing was as the years started going by, he stopped coming to dinner for a little bit, and he had to keep going to union meetings.
Was
at
she
Bethlehem
making
Steel.
a 3-course dinner and then he's not showing up?
He would call her.
I would be so
like,
fucking mad. I'm like, the souffle is in the oven. Are you kidding me? You're not coming home?
I have a union meeting.
A union meeting, right? Okay. So yeah, she starts having kids and stuff, so he's spending less and less time at home. Well, then he gets a new job. So now fancy man gets to work at the university. And so he's like, all right, I'm a very fancy man and I've always wanted fancy dinners and I want fancy dinner parties. I want intellectuals and I want everybody.
3-course dinner for like 10 to 15.
Yes.
Okay.
And Judith has 2 babies.
Is it possible
at this
that we
time.
can hire a nanny?
Can we hire someone to help with this? Because that is so much.
Feels
you
like
want me to cook, basically, you want me to do Thanksgiving level dinner prep every weekend.
Right. And then
with the kids.
prepping yourself.
I got to look hot.
Yes.
Yeah. Look.
I got to come correct for you.
Right. And he also tells her as he's entering this university job, he's like, also, I have a secret. I'm bisexual. And so when I've been going to union meetings, I've been dating guys.
Wait,
and
hold on.
Surprise.
Were you at union meetings or were you dating guys?
No, both.
Dating guys.
Yeah, because you weren't at a union meeting.
No,
Don't say it like that. Like so when I was at these union meetings, I was also dating guys. No, you were dating guys. You weren't at a union meeting. Yeah. Like, just say that.
Judith had been so sheltered, living like a rural kind of life. She's like, I don't understand what that means.
I don't know what your
he's
words
like,
are.
I date guys and I also still need these fancy dinner parties. So she's like, okay. And he's like, also, I'm starting to get really into medieval times. So we're going to start dressing in Ren Fair costumes.
Lady.
On the reg?
Yes.
No.
He would walk around the house.
Fake story.
Shut up.
He would
fake.
walk around the house in tights and in costumes that he had her sew for him.
No. Now she's having to sew. She's a costumer at this point. You have got to shut the fuck
I'm
up.
going to need at least a nanny.
She couldn't even Amazon any tights, some leggings for him.
No, I have pictures.
No.
I have pictures.
No.
I have a picture to show
I have questions.
you. Yeah, you do. But yeah.
I mean, I love to sew a Ren Fair costume.
Look, Christina's showing us pictures. Listen, if they were going to a Ren Fair, I would say congratulations.
This is
you look nice. If you're talking about he just wants to wear this shit, she had to sew this.
Yeah,
she had to sew this
Isn't that
Lord
great?
of the Rings shit.
I am.
I mean, it looks great. Good for her.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so okay, Judith cannot drive because she has grand mal seizures, and
right.
you need to be seizure free for at least 10 years before they'll issue you
Wow,
a driver's
that's
license.
a really long time.
I did not know that.
She has not graduated high school and does not work in quotes at a job.
Right.
She
'Cause
fucking
she works.
Oh, yeah.
She works.
She works harder than most of us work.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm fucking sick of this because not only like are all these rules forced upon me, I feel like I'm being controlled. Now he's doing things like because he's having so many like university people over, he's starting to like smoke marijuana around the kids and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
he won't let her read the news and stuff, so she feels like Yeah, so she doesn't even know what's
Cassie
going
and I
on.
had the exact same. Our bodies
She's
just did
working at the university where like people are protesting the Vietnam War, like stuff like that. She has no idea that the Vietnam War is happening.
I'm not allowed to read the news.
She's not allowed to listen to anything but classical music.
I wish a motherfucker would.
Yeah. It's just like
This poor woman.
So she's
this
like,
is so sad.
I fucking want to leave or whatever. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, what the fuck are you
Who's
going to do?
make me my fancy man dinner?
Who's going to make me fancy man dinners? Exactly. Who's going to make
Milady?
fancy man costumes or whatever?
Yeah, we should have known this Ren Fair shit was coming with
Yeah.
the milady.
Yeah.
It was signs were early on.
Yes, exactly. He made it clear. So it's like another 9 years before finally she's like, all right,
9 years of your precious life.
She figures out what she needs to do. She figures out a plan. She gets her driver's license and stuff. She gets her shit together. And she's like, after 20 years of being married to Fancy Man, she's like, I'm out. I'm being 40 and fabulous.
That's
I'm
right.
fucking done
love
with
it.
this.
Fancy manly, I'm gone.
Exactly. So her 2 daughters, by the way, who have struggled in this household. It was a chaotic household with their dad constantly bringing in people that were doing drugs. Dad was doing things with men in rooms that they would walk into. So Marie also got a head injury. She got hit by a car when she was
Oh my
younger. So
God. Head
Marie actually runs away and like lives on the street. Her younger daughter, Rachel, is not doing well. It's just like a mess.
Chaos.
It's chaos. It's a lot, right? So this is the backdrop. It's 1985. It's Washington. Judith's like, all right, I'm finally ready to live my life. I'm in control. I'm independent. She starts making friends at churches and stuff again. She starts like working at a daycare. And then she goes out to a bar one night, meets a very handsome man, like a manly man. Like it was a country western bar. She was there
Ryan
with a
Gosling
friend.
type or
No. So like her friend wanted to hook up with his friend. So the foursome kind of stayed up all night. And
she's wing womaning.
yes,
it out,
exactly.
yeah.
And then her and the guy got to talking and she's like, they just like
Hit it off.
hit it off.
Nice.
Instant chemistry. They made out at the end of the night.
I love that for her.
Yeah, and it was great. And then he asked for her number and everything. She gave it to him.
What's this guy's name?
This guy's name is Gary.
Oh no. This was the first episode of what is that show?
So who the fuck?
Yes, this was the very first episode of this show that I watched too.
Yeah, I had to get more information about her background.
I fucking forgot this poor woman. Oh my god. Okay.
So that was her whole background that led up to.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
It's 1985, and Judith, who doesn't watch the news, had no idea the terrifying things that were happening and that bodies that were washing up
All along
the Green River. And so begins her courtship with Gary Ridgway.
It's it's awful, but I feel like you should watch it because she gets to tell her own story and
Exactly.
she's
And
interviewed.
this book is her own words. And I'll say at the end why I wanted to tell it, because I just feel like
my heart for her. Like it's this was the first episode of the show I ever watched. And it is probably the most profound episode of the show that there is.
Yeah.
Because
it's like, I mean,
Wow.
yeah. So she starts dating him. He is like a perfect gentleman to her. And she is like just head over heels for him. It's not long before she's able to like move into his house. She sees him with his son, Matthew, who is just like, he's such a caring dad.
Yeah.
And
That whole side.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, she's like, the first thing she noticed though, she's like, there's no carpet in your house. And he's like, oh yeah, I had some boarders and they like kind of peed on stuff. So I had to rip it out, but you can help me pick new carpet. And she's like, okay. And they start moving in and settling into this really quiet routine. And it's like, she had been so used to Fancy Man for so long. Gary liked doing yard sales.
Simple.
And very simple and very quiet, very undemanding too. And so she was like, finally felt like peaceful.
Oh my God.
And so in 1987, he actually gets arrested.
She's like, what are you talking about?
And-
My nice, quiet
And
Gary?
detectives come and talk to her and they're like, what the fuck do you know about Gary? Like, we've seen him up and down Highway 99, like that sort of thing. She's
But
like,
he was a truck driver, right?
She's like, you would,
Of course you would have, you know?
Exactly. She's like flabbergasted. She's like, you have the wrong person. Gary comes home later that night. He's like, oh yeah, they picked up a ton of people. It was all a mistake. Like,
NBD.
Obviously I'm innocent or they wouldn't have let me go. And she's like, oh yeah, of course. And
again, she doesn't have a ton of life experience. It's not like she didn't like finish school. She, hasn't been allowed to watch the news or read the news. So it's like,
yeah, because even though she's not with Fancy Man anymore or whatever, she can watch the news if she so chooses. She's just like, I've lived my life thus far without it. Like, fuck it,
Wow.
So,
and being able to dissect the news and like form opinion, like all of that stuff is learned. It's learned behavior. And if you haven't ever had to do it or wanted to do it, like, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not long until they actually get married shortly after that. And it's like this beautiful small wedding that they have at their neighbor's house, Jim and Linda Bailey. Jim worked with Gary at the Kenwood plant because he wasn't a truck driver. He was a truck painter.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he had worked there for fucking years, like 14 years or something at that point. And Linda became really good friends with Judith. So Jim was Gary's best man. They had it in Jim and Linda's yard. It was beautiful. And yeah, they moved in. They had Judith's daughters over, her grandchildren over. They had Matthew over. They took Matthew to Disney World. They had a financial plan. Gary's like, here's my checkbook. You can be in charge of the money, that sort of thing. She just trusted him completely. Yeah. Completely.
I mean, after what she came through, she's like, this is a fucking godsend.
Well, and also, I think that this really speaks to, and I'm sure that this is where you're going. It also really speaks to people can be different to different people. And to her, it's not just, I don't think it's just that she was okay with this relationship because she had come from a really bad one. I think they had a good relationship. I think that he was good to her. Yeah. That doesn't mean that he wasn't an absolute fucking monster. Right. It's just that to her, he was good to her. He was able to have those compartmentalizations of this is who I am at home with my wife, and this is who I am the rest of the time, and able to separate that out. And that is what's so scary about it.
And I mean, he had a routine down to, he was absolutely reliable. He won year after year, perfect attendance things at his work. And he always was there when he said he was going to be there.
So
and
then you're like, when does he have time to do, right?
He would, exactly. But she had no reason literally no reason to think
and
that.
He always followed through on the promises he made to her. I think legitimately, we get really caught up and identified with this idea that people are one thing and they have to be this one thing. But the truth is I think he really loved her. And I think he treated her like he loved her. Yeah. That doesn't mean that he wasn't a fucking monster. You can love somebody and treat them well and still be a fucking monster.
Right. Yeah. But even co-workers of Gary used to call him Wrong Way, Ridgeway. Just something wasn't right. Something wasn't right. Yeah. They just got a vibe. There wasn't anything they can put their finger on, but so Judith and Gary settled into this routine and got to move into their dream home. They got to go camping. They went on these amazing trips. They were just so in sync. They would have popcorn and watch a movie at the end of the night. And it was just
so normal.
So fucking 14 years.
And that's all she wanted was normal.
That's all she wanted. She was so happy. She had our perfect house. She had worked this beautiful garden. They were, raising dogs. She had 2 Siamese kitties.
That's the thing that strikes you when you watch this episode is that then that's the thing that's so heartbreaking. If no one's ever seen this episode, they should watch it because what strikes you is that she legitimately was so happy.
She really was.
She was really happy.
And the book,
and that's why it's so
you get
devastating.
Even more because the episode's only a half an hour, but when you read this book, you really get a sense of when she reached this point, she was it was worth it.
Breathing.
I
had to go through all that stuff, but
my frogs.
I'm at peace. Yeah. Finally with this good man. I got my dream.
Wow.
And all of that was shattered November 30th, 2001. when detectives went and picked up Gary from work, and then detectives came in and were like, yeah, sit down. Like the
We need to
DNA,
talk.
we finally were able to do the DNA because they got swabs from Gary in his arrest in 87. They couldn't fucking do
87
anything.
to 2001.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they're like, yeah, his DNA match, like he is the Green River killer. Like, and she's like, what
How?
the fuck?
Yeah.
How is this even possible? This
How
can't
do you
be possible.
recover? Like, how do you ever recover?
How
Yeah.
do you come to terms with that? Like, especially because that is such an idyllic thing. Like, you're like, when, where, how?
Right, he was
Yeah.
coming home at night. We were eating popcorn and watching movies. You're telling me that right before he did that, he was out killing people.
And they were
Yeah.
like, well, on nights that he had union meetings, his shift actually ended
Union
at this.
meetings?
Listen. We're
this
gonna
poor
talk-
woman.
Yeah. She is never going to be okay with somebody using that as an excuse.
No.
But yeah, so they were like, yeah, he did it and he got up early for work. Like his shift didn't actually start until then. So he was doing it on before work, after work. Like there were times when Judith would go to visit her parents for the weekend and he would say, oh, I'm visiting my parents for the weekend. So it would happen then. Like,
Go on a tear.
but
Well,
the
and then
thing-
he took his son as well, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a couple times.
Yeah.
So
Awful.
What was very strange was that it was like most of them did happen, they think, before he met Judith, but he really like slowed down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I remember is that they told her, like, because I think they could see how painful this was for her. And I think that she said that the police told her if he hadn't met you, I think that he would have killed a lot more people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like he
it's
was
a-
quote unquote happy. And so his like the frequency with which he was killing people went down. But like that's
Doesn't
make you feel better, really. Yeah.
Yeah. So immediately, because this is like, I mean, the Green River killer is the most prolific
yeah.
serial killer that we've had in this country. It was a huge news story. So reporters, everything are already there. Detectives are like, we have to sneak you out. You have to pack a bag. We're going to take you to a hotel. Like, you got to get out of here.
Because
and
people
we're
are
going to
gonna
search
place
the house.
Blame on her.
Well, so she's like, oh my God. She's like, please. They're like, we're going to have detectives swarming this house. And she's like, don't dig up this spot in the backyard because we just buried our dog Oscar just died. And like, it's Oscar's grave.
No, they're gonna
And
have
she's
to
like,
do that.
also like, I have 2 kittens. Can you please make sure they don't get out?
Take the kittens with
Take the
you.
kittens.
Oh,
You have
honestly.
to.
Take
But
Yeah.
no, they got her out. She has to spend, she's like completely numb, doing nothing but like drinking wine and eating popcorn. That's
Yeah.
it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
same,
relatable
same girl,
concept.
relatable.
Absolutely.
Would.
Yeah.
And her friend Linda comes to like help her. Her sister-in-law comes to help her. One of her daughters comes and is like, Mom, we're gonna dye your hair, like the whole thing.
Wow.
And it's like a week. She goes back. The house.
Thank God she had
is,
support. Like
oh,
she
I
had people around
seriously-
her who were willing to support
Yeah.
her, like
Jim-
including her daughter. like,
Jim
willing to
and
support
Linda
her.
Bailey were like angels
Oh.
to her, angels. And she's just like, she's taking a bunch of pills and everything. She gets back to the house. Of course, they dug up and reburied the dog's
Of
grave.
course, they had to.
Reburied.
And
Well,
one
and
of,
they had to, like, because
Yeah.
he could
Yeah.
have buried something underneath the
Yeah.
dog. Like,
and one of the cats disappeared because she couldn't find one of the cats. And the whole
You
place.
could have told us this whole story without leaving. You couldn't.
No, I need you to see like her literal like whole life. It was like a tornado went through it. There's holes in everything,
Yeah, of
every
course.
piece of carpet because they got to test the fibers. and
course.
everything's destroyed, and she's just like, "What the fuck do I do now?" And at this point, she's still not believing that this could be real.
Well,
Gary's
yeah,
still
that's
calling
very
her,
hard to-
telling her it's a mistake. It's all a mistake, like that kind of thing. And she's like, "I can't." You know,
that's so cruel. I mean, at that point,
Mm.
it's just kind of like, if this is, which I can't remember what happens in this story, but it's like, if you love this person, you need to like,
Yeah.
you can't do that to them. Like,
Yeah.
have their life get completely destroyed and then continue to be like, I didn't do it. Like,
Right.
it's so cruel. It's like very hurtful.
so she goes to visit him with like his brother and his brother's wife and stuff, and he's like, yeah, we got to put on a united front or that kind of thing for Gary. What
We
else?
don't.
And
No, we
Gary
don't.
finally tells us, she's like, you need to do what you need to do. Like, let's get a divorce. Because at this point, like months are going by.
Gary
she's like,
told her that, right?
Gary
Yeah.
told her that she has no income coming in or whatever. One of the attorneys actually helped her get his paychecks because he'd been carrying paychecks with him when he got arrested. So she finally had that. But like she had no money, nothing coming in, like nothing to do. So she was like, okay, we'll get this divorce and then I'll sell the house. And Gary would let her have 60% of the home income and he would take 40% for the thing. But until the house sold, which who's moving into
Gary Ridgway's
murder house.
Yeah.
It took a year. At one point, she's just like, she's homeless. She literally was like
This poor
changing
woman. It's
her clothes
awful.
in a storage locker
Awful.
that they had. It's fucking terrible. And she's just like in a haze this whole time. And it's not.
I mean, imagine.
Awful. It's truly like my heart hurts. I remember vividly, and it was over a decade ago that I watched this episode, but like I remember vividly watching this episode because she's a broken woman. Poor thing.
Well, 2003, she's watching the news and she sees him plead guilty to the 48 murders, each one. And that's how she's like, okay.
Yeah, this is true.
Motherfucker, this is true. This happened. Like, all right. So her parents are like, come home. Like, we'll give you our home. We're getting older. We're going to move into this apartment. She's basically like, she has PTSD. She's like, she closes all the windows. She's terrified to go outside because she's worried.
Both of her husbands. Imagine, like, how do you recover? Like, do you ever trust anybody again? Like, because it's just like your first husband was lying to you for like large swaths of your relationship and having other relationships on the side and using you basically as like a nanny and a housekeeper. And then your second husband was
using you as a beard
and a cover.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
A cover.
Do you ever? Like, are you ever okay? Like,
So one day, as it happens with healing, the old house is like really dark. And she's just like, I should paint a wall. She paints a wall, a lighter color, and instantly starts to feel a little bit better. And it's little projects like that just bring her out of
the darkest
of depressions, where she's like, literally, I was living on boxed wine and pills and just like couldn't go out of bed, couldn't do anything. She got another dog, which of course,
healing.
like you got to do.
You got to do
that.
You got to put your love somewhere.
Slowly starts working in the garden and everything again, and starts going to church again, starts being around people. And then she said the thing that healed her the most was finally like being able to tell her story. So she told her story to like a pastor or something like that. And the pastor was like, man, that's terrible. You had to deal with. But that whole thing that she's thinking,
just been
like
carrying it the whole time.
Like I'm going to be blamed for this, or people are going to think, that kind of thing.
Sure.
She was met with warmth and acceptance. So then finally it was like, okay, I can finally move on. And so now Judith is dating a lovely man.
Oh wow.
She's like
That's
76.
Oh, that's incredible.
She is dating again.
Oh my God.
She has her dog, Precious Princess, which is a Chihuahua.
Precious princess.
Precious Princess.
A Chihuahua. I love Chihuahua.
And she gardens and she has grandkids and everything like that, has a great relationship.
Baby.
And so like she credits writing this book and being able to tell her story with helping with her healing journey. Yes, she still has to deal with PTSD.
Sure.
Like when November flips on the calendar, she automatically gets tense. And usually November 30th is a day that she just kind of like
shuts it down
and keeps it to herself. But yeah, I wanted to tell this story just because I'm like, this woman had a lifetime of fucking challenges, obstacles, difficulty with people, and just the shittiest fucking men. But like that resilience, I think really resonated and inspired me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also speaks to like we get really caught up. It's just the way we're programmed, like neurologically, like we respond to negativity in a way that we don't respond to positivity. That's just the way that we are. But I think you can look at the story and look at all like the bad stuff, But you can also look at this story and say like, what an incredible story of like resilience. And she's such a beautiful person that she's been able to reclaim this part of her life.
She's had a lot of tragedy too. So much tragedy. You know, like there's a lot more that she's had to go through that. I mean, I didn't share a 382 page book with you guys, but, but yeah, just the fact that like through it all, like she's really been able to pick herself up and heal in a way that she's like healed herself through gardening, healed herself through her friendships, and been able like the way that she put herself out there again.
Yeah. Insane.
And I mean, still believed in love.
I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have been like, you know what? I'm good with my garden and my dog and I don't need anything else. I feel like that and I haven't even been hurt like that. Like I'm just like,
exactly.
You know, so
I'm gonna adopt like 3 or 4 dogs.
Yeah, I'm good. And I remember, I think that episode of that show maybe came out before she wrote her book.
Correct. Yeah.
But she had said in that episode that I admired the amount of strength she had in that episode because it was very clear to me that she loved him. And honestly, it was clear to me that he loved her and that like she wanted it to be different than it was. And it broke her heart. But I admired her strength in being able to say, even in that episode to him, because he kept writing to her and kept trying to reach out and explain things and want to get together and talk to her. And she wrote him a letter or something and told him like, I cannot have a relationship with you. I don't want to talk to you. You know, this has to be done. And I won't ever speak to you again. And I thought that was actually very like brave and strong of her because
that's tough.
It's someone she loved. Like regardless of whatever else happened, the person she knew was someone she loved, and being able to say that like no.
And that's why she has said too, she's like, I hate the man that took him away from me.
Took my husband from me.
Exactly. Because she's like, that man was not my husband, but I loved my husband. But
it's awful. God, it's awful.
And I think there's so many stories out there or things about Gary Ridgway and everything. I was like, I want to focus
her perspective.
Her side.
So important. And knowing where she came from and knowing what she survived through, like 2 relationships. I mean, obviously, being married to the Green River Killer is on a whole new level. But like even her first marriage is like, that's horrible. Like that's horrible that's your experience with love and marriage.
Well, and so the book was first out in 2007, and then it was there's a whole new like thing at the end from 2020, like updating. And so like that's where we learned about her new boyfriend who was like dating her weekly and showing up there, and like a year into dating he's like, I love you, and she just like smiled at him, and he knew she wasn't ready to say that yet, and it wasn't until another year. And so they've been together for like 5 years now or what have you. So
wow, great one.
Happy ending.
Great story. A real good one to tell for a lot of reasons.
You can go through a lot of different things, and it just it shows, I think, the resilience and the cautiously optimistic,
great for New Year's,
hopeful nature of the new year. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Well, what are you guys watching?
Okay. Listen, I used to watch Sister Wives. I used to watch it when it was on, but I fell off. That show's been on for so fucking long. It's been on for like 13 years. And I was just like, I would watch it when I could, but it wasn't like a mainstay in my life. And then I heard
in the beginning, let me kind of, because I've never been
for sure.
I've never been a Sister Wives person. I understand that they're a polygamy family, right? And he has 3
plural
wives,
family.
right?
He has 4.
Okay. In the beginning, did he have 3 and then he was marriing his 4th?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it started?
Yeah. Okay. In the beginning, it was Cody And then Christine, well, it was Mary who was the first wife, and then Janelle and Christine, and those were his 3 wives. And then like a couple of seasons in, he met Robin and he started dating her, and then he got married to Robin while the show was happening. So he's got 4 wives.
And they had like multiple houses. What was the situation?
So originally they had several houses, but they were all like on the same cul-de-sac. So they were like on the same block. And then they've moved several times because they had to leave Utah because Utah really criminalized polygamy. So they went to Vegas and they lived in Vegas for a while, and then they went to Flagstaff. So that's where they're at now. They're in Arizona. And Cody has really favored Robin, his new wife, in fact, like he was legally married to Mary, who was his first wife.
Right.
And he told Mary that they had to get divorced so that he could legally marry Robin, because Robin had kids from a previous marriage that he wanted to adopt.
Yeah.
So he was like, I can't adopt them unless we're legally married. So I need to divorce you, Mary, and marry Robin legally, but it doesn't change anything. That's what he said. That's what he said.
It feels like it might.
Yeah, that's what he said. And Mary already felt like kind of weird because she had only one child and then had fertility problems and couldn't have any more. So all the other wives had like multiples. They all have like 6 or 7 kids.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
So I fell
What
off.
does this man do for money?
Dude, I'm not sure. It was
This
like
show?
something to do with, like architecture or something for a while, like real estate. And
Now
now
it's
I'm
just
not
got to
sure.
be this show.
And all
honestly.
the wives work, except for Robin. The other wives have jobs. Well, Christine had a job on and off, but her main job was watching all the other kids while the moms worked. Like that's what Christine did. So like when I fucking heard that Christine left Cody.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm divorcing Cody. I was like, the way I'm going to sit down and watch this whole fucking season right now.
But it's been kind of happening for a while. Like it's been gearing up for a while.
Mary
like,
was the one who was the most upset for a long time.
Okay.
Like, so Mary was really upset for like a long time. And Christine was upset, but I didn't think that she was going to be the one to leave.
Okay.
But then COVID happened. And Cody stopped. He made all these rules about like, I can be the only one who goes from house to house. But like they're a plural family and Christine raised these other kids.
Yeah.
So she's like, I want to be able to go to the other wives' houses to like be around their children and our kids are siblings and I want them to be able to interact.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of butting heads there. And then like Cody wasn't coming around. He was like only staying at Robin's house. This is a lot of detail that people don't care about, but like,
But I do. So I'm like, tell me everything.
so it caused a lot of tension. And she's just like, finally, she's like, you know what? You're not coming around anyway.
So
And you told me that you don't want to have an intimate relationship with me, and that like
Then why are we married?
Because he was like, lots of marriages are fine without an intimate relationship, and she's like, not for me, not for me. I'm not happy. I'm leaving.
And it's not that you're not being intimate; it's that I'm not. So you're still being able to have an intimate relationship with somebody.
Robin, but I can't have an intimate
fucked?
relationship with anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
no. See,
So
no.
she's like, I'm not doing it. It's embarrassing for me that you're even saying this. Like he told her, he basically said, like, he's like, I wasn't attracted to you when we got married. And I brought you into the family to ease the tensions between my other 2 wives.
Wow.
Like it's basically like
so
what he said.
hurtful.
It's awful.
Terrible.
He's the worst person on the
Honestly.
planet. I made a TikTok about it. I was like, he's so lucky more people don't watch this show because he'd be the most hated person on the planet or in America. And then I had people from all over the world. It was like, I hate him from South Africa. I hate him from Angola. I hate him from Sweden. I hate him from New Zealand.
I love it.
Incredible.
I love it.
So then, since then, Janelle, his second wife, who's really close to Christine, has also left.
Yeah.
She's left him.
Good for her.
And then Mary, who he has said on the show, he's like, I don't consider myself married to Mary. I'm not attracted to her at all. He left her.
Wrong with you.
So now it's just him and Robin.
That's
It's
it.
like,
And why have a reality show?
no, yeah.
I hope that TLC drops Sister Wives and just has a reality show about the wives who have left. Like
Oh,
just the wives.
honestly.
Just the wives.
Yeah.
Just the wives who have left. Like let them have
That's
their
a
own
Real
show.
Housewives I can get behind.
Literally.
Second and third wives club.
Yeah. Absolutely fuck Cody. He's the worst person.
Wonderful.
He's
so awful looking.
even his
Yeah.
kids don't like him. He's horrible. Truly. Like, so if you're you should, if you're interested at all, watch the latest season because
Sir, you're not really selling
Wow.
this plural family.
the whole show was supposed to be like, we're going to normalize plural marriage and we're going to make it look like it works. And like,
it doesn't.
it did, at least not for you guys.
Not for them.
Didn't work for you.
Listen, I have nothing against plural marriage.
Do you? Like, whatever.
I don't. I have nothing against polygamy. I mean, listen, as long as you are marrying,
You're adults.
as long as everyone is a consenting adult, I don't give a shit. Like,
Right.
honestly, have as many wives as you want. Who gives a shit? It really has nothing to do with me. But yeah, no, I think that this is, you also have to have the ability to be able to exit when it's not working for you any longer. And
Right. I mean, and you watch this man absolutely lose his shit because you can tell it was all about control the whole time.
Yeah.
And like, because he doesn't care about Mary. It's his choice to let her go. But when Christine chose to leave, he lost his fucking mind. And like, this wasn't somebody who he even wanted to have an intimate relationship with. He's just mad that like she chose to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And God bless her. I really, like, Christine is so wonderful on that show because she's so strong. She's just like, she's challenged over and over again because she's not just leaving him, like she's leaving her other sister wives, and they're like, are you sure? And she's like, yes, I'm sure. I'm leaving. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. Mama done.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Anyway,
Wow.
sorry. That was a long way to say, wow, you should watch Sister Wives, the latest
You got
season.
me.
Yeah, I feel like you watched it for us. I think you did the Lord's
The
work.
recap.
Yeah, very good. I am literally still, I mean, what else am I watching besides Vampire Diaries?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I know.
I'm like mid-season 6.
As you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have nothing else
You
to
sent me that
contribute.
bomb-ass playlist.
Listen, I'm making a
Yeah.
playlist because I just keep getting reminded of music that I'm like, oh, I
Oh,
love that song.
Yeah.
This-
I like that.
The
I love it.
soundtrack on
Bangers.
Vampire Diaries slaps. You should never apologize for
It's
that.
bangers.
Yeah.
I just binged the latest season on Netflix of I Am a Killer.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
It's
Whoa.
so intense.
That is so intense.
That
man.
show is so compelling
It
to
is.
hear somebody's real accounting of like it's
chilling.
It's
It's hard.
It's
some of it is
terrifying.
really hard to watch.
Some of it's
Yeah.
hard because
Yeah.
it's like, wow, like some of it you like, wow, that makes sense. That's a terrible mistake. That's awful. You can tell that person feels awful. And some of it is like, that is the most terrifying
Yeah,
person
that's a sociopath.
I've ever seen in
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
It's always a study, I think, in human behavior and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's an intense watch, but a very interesting one if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, if you guys have something we should watch or read, or you have a terrible, terrible date story to share with us, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. And we love you so much. Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.